Clive, my boy! Rutherford informs me that we owe you our thanks. Hadn't intended for you to get involved, but such are the times we live in, huh?
I would have done the same for anyone else.
You're far too modest, Clive. You'd make a terrible nobleman. But tell me, is the realm truly in as dire a state as Rutherford suggests?
From what little I saw, you were right to be worried.
I suppose I should have expected the worst. But I was rather hoping the great and good of the realm might have things a little more under control. Alas, it seems that firm leadership is in short supply these days, and without it, the people are bound to lose their way. We must move quickly.
But where do we start?
True, the challenges that face us are many. But in my estimation, there are two key areas to be addressed before any other. The realm's armies and her larders. As you've seen firsthand, it's every man and woman for themselves out there. Certain cities have banded together to try and maintain some semblance of order, yes, but such cases are few and far between. And yet, the only remedy for the chaos that faces us is unity. A unity that transcends even the borders laid down by our ancestors. In short, if Storm does not stand together, she will fall apart.
But how would one even begin to unite the realm?
The armies, my boy. As I told you already, we begin by restoring order among the ranks of those sworn to maintain it. Sadly, I doubt I could convince even the lowliest gaggle of privates to dig a latrine together. But I do know someone the High Commanders have been known to listen to on occasion. Field Marshal Eugen Havel.
I thought he was retired.
He was, until an Akashic army tore through Randalar and killed most of the rank and file. There is no man alive more capable. Literally. And as luck would have it, I've already spoken with him on the matter.
Of course you have.
And he's agreed to help. On one condition. That he first speaks with you personally. Havel has always been a man of frustratingly rigid principle, and he has certain qualms about clasping arms with, well, with an outlaw. I extolled your many virtues as best I could, of course, but the old goat was adamant that he be allowed to appraise you in person. You don't mind, do you, my boy?
Of course not. As long as chaos reigns, we will never build a better world. I'll do whatever it takes. And if the Field Marshal wishes to speak with me in person, then so be it.
That's the spirit.
I'll leave for Randalar at once. Would you send a Stolas?
Of course. Rutherford is already in the Dalmekian capital. I'll have him tell Havel to expect you forthwith.
Excellent. Thank you, Uncle.
No, thank you, Clive.
Clive, do you have a moment?
Of course. Always.
I wanted to give you something.
Is this?
I stitched it from the cloth you gave Hortense. The piece she said you liked best. I told her I used to enjoy needlework, but I didn't think she'd remember.
It's beautiful, Jill. You didn't have to.
When I was very little, I recall my mother telling me that young ladies of the court would give knights ribbons from their hair before they went off to war. I still wear mine, so I made you this instead. Red is the color of passion, the fire in your heart. Fierce and bright, it binds you and your brother, you and your friends, you and me.
Our bond. May it never be broken.
And may it ever bring you back to me. I will always, always be here.
Thank you, Jill. It's usually me making demands of Hippocrates. I wonder what this is about. Lawsman Hippocrates. I received your note.
Ah, yes. I expect you're wondering what this is all about.
You spoke of making amends with Dion, but I can't imagine what for.
Then I should begin by telling you that I was once his tutor. This was some years ago, of course, before I joined Sid in his hideaway. At that time, I was counted among the foremost scholars of Oriflamme, and was accordingly invited to the palace to supervise the young prince's education, all to ensure that the future emperor had a firm grounding in, well, everything an emperor should: history, religion, commerce, government. Alas, our time together was cut short when Dion left to join the dragoons, his studies no longer being deemed necessary. I had not expected to meet with him again, least of all here.
Have you spoken with him?
No, I have yet to find the right moment. His Highness always seems so preoccupied, especially when alone. I would not wish to disturb his ruminations with idle words of greeting, not when I know he dwells upon the evil Ultima had him commit in the Dominion.
The guilt weighs heavily on him, I know. But as you say, that was Ultima's doing. Surely you can't blame yourself.
When I first met him, it was not guilt, but his people's expectations that weighed heavily upon him, and I did nothing to ease that burden. He bore it alone, until the day he could not bear it any longer. It is one of my greatest regrets that I only ever offered him my wisdom, when what he truly needed was friendship. The blame for Dion's transgressions lies not only on his shoulders, but on mine.
I see. I'm ready to help you in any way that I can.
Then I beg that you bring me a wild wyvern tail. Apothecaries across the ages agree that even to glimpse such a flower is to be granted inner solace. Fabulists and fraudsters all, of course. But there is oft a seed of truth to be found where even the most outlandish opinions align.
Well, it can't hurt to try. Where can I find this flower? And how will I know it?
You have seen cultivated wyvern tails before, I trust. The lily-white blossoms from whose roots the poisonous ink for the brand is distilled. Well, those which grow in the wild differ only in their purple hue. The harsher the environment in which they are raised, the deeper the color. There is a waterfall in Rickmal's roost across the strait, where the flowers once grew in abundance. Whether they still survive there, I know not. But try as I might, I can find no likelier location.
It's all right. I'll find you a wyvern tail one way or another.
Thank you, Clive. And please, be safe.
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When ether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now. And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together. And we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit Walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris. Over here! Attack! Over here! Get him! Attack! Over here! Seems this place has been flooded twice over. Purple flowers blooming next to a waterfall. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Get him! Here they are. Might as well pick enough for a bunch, I suppose.
Well met. Many thanks. You're welcome anytime.
Well, this isn't at all foreboding.
Fetch!
Do you see that too?
Papa? What is it? Oh, please. Just make it stop. I'm scared.
It's all right.
Ready, girl? Fly, Ambrosia.
All right. That can't be Rutherford, can it?
Turncoats and cowards, the lot of you! If it's a fight you want,
It's a fight you shall have!
Allow me.
I don't need your... Please, Field Marshal. Oblige him.
This won't take long.
You're right. It won't. Men, finish him.
All yours, Torgal. You're finished.
A little longer than I'd have liked. Field Marshal Havel, I presume. Are either of you injured?
No, my lord. You arrived just as our escort turned on us.
Fucking traitors. I'd heard reports of soldiers in the outlying regions abandoning the oaths they swore. But I hadn't thought the corruption had reached so close to the heart of the Republic. It's a fucking disgrace. Your interfering old bastard of an uncle tried to warn me, of course. My lord Marquis. Or is Sid the Outlaw more to your liking?
Call me what you want. It doesn't change who I am, or the urgency of the message I bring. My uncle has a plan to right the realm, and he needs your help to see it through.
Before I agree to anything, I'd have you answer one question. What do you stand to gain from all this?
I won't deny that I might benefit from further chaos. But I seek a new beginning for all of us. And while the choices I've made may not always have been the right ones, I know I made them for the right reasons. For so long, so many of us have been told how we could live, how we could die, when it should have been our decision all along. Now we have a chance to put things right. But in order to take it, we must stand together. Even if it be beside those with whom we don't see eye to eye.
Certainly not the words I expected from an outlaw. But perhaps your uncle was right. You are no ordinary outlaw. I'll never hear the end of this. All right. I'll start by ordering my most trusted guard to bring the Dhalmekian fringes under control. Next, I'll make contact with my counterparts in the Imperial Army and see if I can't convince them to try and restore order in their own territory.
Thank you, Field Marshal.
But they are not the only ones we will need to convince.
What do you mean?
I don't doubt that I can bully some sense into a few generals. But those they answer to require a different kind of persuasion. And when it comes to honeyed words, well, we will need an envoy. One who can court even the most stubborn of statesmen. You, perhaps.
I'm flattered. But I'm no diplomat either. And I have other problems to attend to. What we need is a skilled arbitrator. And I may know just the person.
Is that so? And would he happen to be an outlaw too?
Of a different kind, perhaps.
Well, beggars can't be choosers. I suppose we'll all have to find a little of the outlaw in ourselves if we're to make it through this. Very well. Send your man to me right away.
I shall.
My Lord Marquis. Your Lord Uncle bade me escort the Field Marshal to his manor in Port Isolde.
And I will see that my associate joins you there.
Very good, my lord.
An envoy. I'm not sure I'm the man to talk anyone round. I can barely convince my brother to take his medicine. No. This is a job for someone with experience. Someone like Quentin. I hope I can convince him at least.
I made sure our fallen comrades were laid to rest. And they can rest easy, knowing that their sacrifice wasn't in vain. That justice was done. As for us survivors, well, we've just got to keep at it. Keep the family together. For their sakes.
We may be bruised, we may be back. Master
Quentin. I have a proposal for you.
Do you now? Something tells me you'll be asking more of me than a cask of Gotand gold. Go on then. Propose. You'd have me convince the chiefs and chamberlains of the realm that they should simply swallow their pride and do the one thing that has proved impossible for thousands of years. Was there anything else? Perhaps I can fetch you a meat pie as well.
I know it's a lot to ask, but I can think of none better suited to the role.
And you'd have me give up what little I have left to do it. I told you, Clive. The people of Lostwing are my family, and I cannot abandon them. You'll have to find someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So am I.
And why might that be?
What he's asking. How's it any different to what you've done so far? They want you to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what you do best. If it's the vineyard you're worried about, we'll see that the grapes are picked and the tons filled. You know we will.
It's not that.
Then what is it? You said yourself we're family. Don't you trust us?
You know that's not what I'm...
Then what are you saying? That only we are worth saving? Why turn your back on everyone else? You convinced us we could build new lives for ourselves, and if you can do that, who's to say you couldn't convince the entire realm?
A stirring argument. I fear that any rejoinder I make might fall somewhat flat by comparison.
So you'll join us?
Where do you need me?
Field Marshal Havel will want to speak with you in person. He's currently in Port Isolde. I can arrange for a party of Cursebreakers to accompany you there.
That would be very much appreciated. I hear the roads are far from safe these days.
Hopefully not for long. My uncle will want to know that his plan is taking shape.
Ready, go?
Doris is waiting for me near Balmung Dark. The longer she's out in the open, the more likely she is to be found by a Kashik. I need to hurry. Back to the stables, Carl. There were no guards, I take it.
None manning the gates, no. It's a different story inside, though. The corridors are crawling with Akashic. Most likely guards left behind when the wardens ran. If Chadwick was being held here, I worry that he may already be.
Don't give up hope just yet, but let's move quickly. Let me check the ground floor. The ether stick is there.
Then I'll search the upper level. Good luck, Sid. Stay safe.
Just how bad are the floods inside the walls? Bad enough to turn a bearer? I hope not. We're risking a lot just being here. Better keep my eyes open for signs of life. Locked up tight. This one. So this place was no ordinary prison. And I doubt they'll have taken the creature with them when they fled. Minimal loss of Waluda lives. And what happens when they run out of bearers? Even the Imperials take better care of their branded than that. They were feeding bearers to it. This is even worse than I'd feared. Nothing but a Kashyyyk down here. Hopefully things are looking better upstairs. I should go and see how Doris is getting on. No lock downstairs. But I did find out that this place was more than just a prison. Something far more sinister was happening here.
I know. I've been reading some of these documents and... it can't be true, can it? Bearers die every day in service of their masters, but this is so much worse. Pitting bearers against a wild beast armed with nothing but their wits? And all in order to bring about more death. And not just those who could fight, but the elderly, children even. And those who wouldn't or couldn't were disposed of. Whatever that means.
I'm afraid it means they were fed to the monstrosity they kept here.
Then we're too late. And I was a fool to bring you here.
Don't say that. Did you find anything else?
A key. But it doesn't fit any of the locks on this floor.
Perhaps it will fit one of the doors downstairs. There's a corridor I haven't searched yet. Finish up here, then come and find me when you're ready.
All right. I'll be there in a moment.
Let's see what we can find down here. A survivor. And she sounds close.
Who are you?
There's no need to be afraid. Are you alone? Are there any other survivors?
Some of the guards. They're still here. But something's wrong with them. Everyone else was eaten by the monster.
Of course there were.
Thank the Founder.
It was worth our coming. But I'd rather we didn't linger. Are you ready?
Ready when you are. You poor thing. You must have been terrified.
Did Chadwick send you?
What?
He fought the monster. Distracted it so I could run away. He must have sent you. He promised to free the others too. Where is he? He opened your cell, didn't he? He wouldn't be here otherwise.
Chadwick.
Was that?
Monster's back! Chadwick, help!
We have to get out of here.
Doris, keep the girl safe.
All right. You put that bearer-eating bastard in the ground.
We have to run.
You're safe now. We won't let it hurt you. I'll look after the girl. You teach that thing a lesson.
It's out there waiting for me. I can't let it live. Not if it's got a taste for bearers.
Over here! This one! Over here! Too slow.
Finally.
Sid, are you hurt?
I'm fine. I think.
No.
What is it?
A diary. I gave it to Chadwick before we went our separate ways. He was here. Do you think that creature?
I'm sure he fought bravely to the last. The girl is safe thanks to him.
Chadwick. You fool.
Come on. We have to get her back to the hideaway. We don't want his sacrifice to have been in vain.
No. Of course not. I'll see that she's looked after from now on. It's the least I can do.
From what I hear, you've barely left the girl's side in days. I hope she's recovering from her ordeal.
She is. Slowly but surely. She's far tougher than she looks. I thank the flames we found her. If we hadn't...
I know. But we did. I'm sorry we weren't able to save Chadwick.
There's no need to apologize. Without your help, I would never have found out what happened to him. How he fought to the bitter end to save her. To save Haida Marie. That's the man I remember. The man I thought of as a brother.
I wish I could have met him. I'd like to hear more about your past. If you don't mind, that is.
Of course. You already met my former master. She trained Chadwick and I to do two things. Kill and obey. We were supposed to be sold to the highest bidder when the time came. But no bid was ever high enough to convince her to part with us. For years, we were her daggers in the shadows. But we could never quite shake our doubts about the things she made us do. And then, one day, we just couldn't do them anymore. So we escaped. But staying together was out of the question. They would have found us too easily. After so many years of training, the pull to serve was always strong. It scared me to think he might have taken another master, become a dagger in someone else's hand.
But even in captivity, the battles he fought were his own. And he died not as someone's tool, but as a hero.
Haida Marie is proof of that. Bearers can cast off their shackles. And the Cursebreakers will show them how. I'll fight until my dying breath to see it done. For Chadwick, and for all of us.
Thank you, Doris. We'll be counting on you.
All this time, my heart has wandered hither and thither in search of the perfect companion. When all along he was here, standing right beside me.